I believe that something is happening in our community and it's tough to talk about. But ignoring it, it's not fixing the problem. We having a maturity crisis right now and it's tearing the culture apart along with these kids' futures. Every day we seem to complain about how wild these kids are, how disrespectful they are, how they have zero guidance. But who do you think are raising these kids? We have a generation of children growing up without a single adult in the household. And let's start with the mothers, because we have mothers out here who are still behaving like children themselves. Instead of protecting their kids' innocence, they're actively teaching their kids how to be classless, ratchet, and just grown. You see it all over social media. Mothers dressing like their teenage daughters, taking them to clubs, twerking next to them, treating their kids like clubbing partners instead of their children, and just showing them that screaming and fighting and shaking their bodies online is the only way to get what you want out of this world. And to the mothers doing this, please stop. Stop making excuses. A mother is supposed to be who a child looks up to. But right now, so many mothers are just terrified of growing up because they're addicted to the attention. And I'm not saying don't have fun with your kids. Create memories. Just do it in a way that doesn't put them at risk. Because we do have predators out there. They're watching. They're watching your 15-year-old daughter twerk. And when you pass that behavior down, you're not preparing your kids for the world. You're trapping them in the exact same struggle that you grew up in. Your children don't need a best friend to make TikToks with. They have cousins and friends to do that with. They need a parent who gives them structure, guidance, a safe home to lay their heads down. Think about what that actually does to a child's head. When a home has zero structure, that child's brain, it just goes straight to survival mode. They can't focus in class. Their anxiety is through the roof because the person who's supposed to be there teaching and guiding them is unpredictable. A 12-year-old child should not be carrying the weight of a mom's relationship drama. A child should not be trying to calm her mom down after she starts a public fight. When you force your kids to handle your adult emotions, I think you steal away their childhood, period. They're emotionally burnt out before they even hit high school. And then we sit around wondering why these kids are so angry and just quick to react. But they're literally just giving the world exactly the same chaotic energy that they were shown. These are what these kids were shown in the home. So when the adults refuse to grow up, the kids never stand a chance. We're normalizing toxic behavior, and it's not okay. It's unhealed trauma passed down to a new generation of kids. Look, let me say this clearly because I'm not out here thrashing mothers. I'm not pointing fingers just to tear women down. I love us. I just want us to do better as women because we hold the keys to these kids' futures in our households. And the standards that we set are everything. I'm telling you this from of love and experience. I have adult children today, and let me tell you, there is no greater feeling in this world than when your grown-up kids, they come to you on several different occasions. They look at you and tell you that you're the person that they look up to. My kids have done this several different occasions. It's a wonderful, beautiful feeling. But you only get that reward later in life if you choose to be the parent when they're young. You can't get that lifelong respect if you're too busy just trying to be their peer or their clubbing partner or their competition online. Your kids don't need another friend. They need to look at you and see an example of what a real mature woman looks like so that they have something to aim for. So with that being said, if you're a mother, your highest priority in life is to protect your children's innocence. Monitor their social media or pull them off the internet. And when life gets too stressful or when someone tests you in public, show your children what a real mature adult looks like. Show them that you can handle conflict in public with dignity and with self-respect. Be the example they actually need. Handle your business with a little grace. Don't allow people to pull you out of your character. Let's just teach our daughters that their minds and their self-respect are the true power. Allow these kids to feel safe enough to just be kids. I'm telling you, we got to start saving these kids, because if we don't grow up right now, once again, they will not stand a chance. But you know what? This is just not for mothers. Let's talk about the fathers who never grew up either. The 50-year-old men who are closer than crashing out in the streets than they are to being mentors. At 50, you should be a grandfather, a mentor, someone teaching the next generation how to build, how to survive, and how to stay out of the streets. Just teach these young men how to conduct themselves whenever there's a conflict. But instead, you have 50-year-old men with gray hair still in the street chasing validation, hanging on blocks, wearing the same clothes and running from the same things that they were running from at the age of 16. Be the man who pulls that 20-year-old kid aside and says, hey, I survived that path and it leads to a graveyard or a jail cell. Let me show you how to get it right. But instead, too many are still competing with these young men. Too many grown 50-year-old adults are still competing with 25-year-olds, still trying to prove that they're dangerous. There's nothing honorable about being a 50-year-old crash out. So if you are an older man still hanging in the streets, go heal. You need to just go heal. How are you old enough to be a grandfather and your highest priority is who still respects you on a corner? A corner that you don't even own. Nobody cares how feared you are on the block, because a 50-year-old man shouldn't find pride in being feared on the block. Standing on a street corner at 50 years old screaming about a block that they don't own is crazy. And we have to stop glorifying this behavior. Let's talk about how stable and respected you are in the household. Let's talk about how you're teaching and keeping these young men from living that street life. Put down the rags. Step away from the drama and just go find purpose. Purpose that'll build up the next generation. Become the protector that you never had. One thing we have to realize is that this behavior doesn't just stop with the current generation. It creates a domino effect, completely confusing these kids. So when a boy sees a grown man with gray hair still trying to prove that he's dangerous on the block, he doesn't see a grandfather or a father figure. He thinks that's the only way to be a man. When a young girl grows up seeing her mom chase internet validation at 50 years old, she learns that her only worth comes from attention. We're actively training the next generation to become the exact broken adults that we're complaining about, basically. We keep asking when the cycle will break, but the cycle can only break when the adults decide to log off the internet, step away from the block, and actually look at that damage that they're doing under their own roof. And here's what it really comes down to. We need spaces where manhood means stability in what you build, not what you destroy. We need mothers to just step back into the role of being a protector and not their kid's best friend. I'm telling you, your kids don't want a clout chasing mother. They want a parent, someone who shows them what real maturity looks like. When life gets stressful, someone tests you in public, they need somebody who can handle conflict with dignity and doesn't let anyone pull them out of character. Because right now, we're forcing 12-year-old kids to become the adults in the household because the grown-ups in their lives are refusing to grow up. We have to stop acting like this behavior is okay. It is not okay. It's destroying our families, it's ruining our kids' futures, and it's destroying our community. Because at the end of the day, these kids didn't ask to be here or to raise themselves. So if the adults in our lives don't grow up, these kids will never have a chance. So do me a favor, drop your thoughts in the comments below and keep it real. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.